Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to dive into something really special, a journey through the final, incredibly powerful verses of Surah Al-Baqarah, the longest chapter in the Quran. You see, these verses aren't just an ending. They're like the believer's final, conclusive plea. It's a profound summary of our entire relationship with our Creator. So let's explore what makes them so unbelievably significant. And right at the heart of this whole journey is this one simple but incredibly powerful phrase, Sami'na wa ata'na. We hear and we obey. This is it. This is the believer's response to God's guidance. It's a declaration that just sets the stage for this amazing story of complete submission, profound trust, and an absolutely unwavering faith.
Now, to really get this, we got to understand the context. Imagine after more than 280 verses packed with laws, stories, and guidance, the believer's response isn't, "Whoa, this is way too much," or "but why?" Nope. Instead, it's this beautiful, immediate acceptance. In fact, we're told that these verses were a special gift, given directly to the prophet under the throne of Allah. That just highlights their immense spiritual weight. This isn't just a rulebook, it's a dialogue of pure submission.
All right, so this is where our journey kicks off, building the foundation. This first stage is all about establishing that unshakable core of faith, and then, crucially, translating it into immediate action. This is where Sami'na or ata'na becomes so much more than just words we say.
So, the first big lesson here is all about affirmation. It teaches us that faith isn't some one-time thing you declare and you're done. No, it's a living, breathing thing that you have to constantly nurture. The key is to consciously, consistently reaffirm our core beliefs and make them the absolute bedrock of our daily lives.
And check this out. The guidance is super practical. First, make it a habit. Recite these final verses of Al-Baqarah every single night. It's like hitting a spiritual reset button before you sleep. And second, you have to train your heart to see the single, unified message of all the prophets. From Adam all the way to Muhammad. Peace be upon them all. This just gets rid of any division and strengthens our conviction in the one single source of all guidance.
So once we've got that affirmation down, the next piece of the puzzle is total obedience. This is where our belief turns directly into action. It's all about closing that gap between knowing what's right and actually doing what's right. It's about cultivating a reflex for doing good.
And this right here is such a critical distinction. The mindset of a believer isn't, "Okay, I hear you, let me think about it. Let me see if it fits my schedule." No way. It is an immediate, "I hear and I obey." That little bit of hesitation, that moment of consideration, that's often where we stumble. The real strength is in the immediacy of our response to God's commands.
So how do we actually practice this? Well, step one, when a command comes to you, whether it's to pray on time, be kind to your parents, or give some charity, just act on it, right then and there. But listen, we're human, right? We're going to slip up. And that's where step two is just so merciful. When you fail, don't spiral into despair. Immediately turn back and say, "Ghufranaka Rabbana," your forgiveness, our Lord. Acknowledge the mistake, ask for forgiveness, and get right back on track.
Okay, so our foundation is solid. Now we step on to the path of life itself. This next phase of our journey is all about navigating the challenges that are, let's be honest, inevitable. It's a beautiful balancing act between taking full responsibility for our own actions while constantly seeking divine mercy and help.
And this brings us to a really powerful idea called radical responsibility. The verse says every single soul will be held accountable for what it has earned. Now, that sounds intense, but it's actually so empowering. It means we have to stop blaming our circumstances, our past, or other people for our choices. We're the ones earning our deeds, for better or for worse.
And this table just lays it all out so perfectly. Look, on one side, that's our part. We have to own our choices. But on the other side is our plea to Allah. We ask Him for the capacity to handle the challenges He sends us. We seek His forgiveness when we make honest mistakes, and we ask for ease from burdens that feel like they're just too much to carry. It's this beautiful partnership, our effort guided and supported by His divine mercy.
So let's boil this all down into a practical toolkit. First, stop the blame game. You're the architect of your hereafter, your future. Second, when a challenge feels way too big, you have to remind yourself, Allah does not burden a soul beyond its capacity. I can handle this. Third, practice some self-compassion. Be gentle with yourself. Sincere effort matters so much more than perfection. And finally, be proactive in your prayers. Ask Allah to ease your burdens and protect you from those tests that feel overwhelming.
You know what? Let's just pause here for a second and reflect. Looking at these 4 pillars, taking responsibility, trusting your God-given capacity, seeking forgiveness, and asking for ease, which one of those really resonates with you the most right now? What area of your life needs a little more focus? Just thinking about that is the very first step toward actually putting this into practice.
All right, let's elevate our perspective a bit. We've built the foundation, we're learning how to navigate the path. Now we look towards the final stage of our journey, understanding our ultimate destination and placing our complete, total trust in our ultimate guardian.
You know, these verses drop a huge truth bomb on us. To you is the destination. This life, it's the journey, it's not the end goal. And just keeping that perspective helps us make so many better decisions. We start to look at our choices not just for their immediate reward, but for how they're going to serve us in the end.
And the actionable steps here are just so powerful. First, keeping death in mind. Look, it's not meant to be morbid or depressing, it's meant to be clarifying. It just cuts through all the noise and helps us prioritize what truly matters. And second, when you're facing a crossroads, just ask yourself, which of these paths leads to a better outcome at the final destination? That simple question can honestly change everything.
And this might be one of the most comforting ideas in these entire verses. The plea declares, "You are our Mawla." Now, a Mawla is so much more than a lord. It's a guardian, a protector, the one who takes charge of all of your affairs. The point is, you are never, ever alone in this. You have a divine guardian who is actively looking out for you.
And the way to implement this is beautiful in its simplicity. Before you go to sleep tonight, consciously hand over all your anxieties, your fears, your plans for tomorrow, hand them over to your Mawla. I mean, do your best in planning, absolutely, but then trust that his plan and his protection are infinitely greater than your own. This is literally a recipe for true peace of mind. And when we have that complete trust in our guardian, only then are we really empowered to ask for victory. The final plea is for victory over the disbelieving people. But the guidance here is so wise. It tells us that this victory starts with the internal battle. The biggest victory you will ever have is conquering the doubt, the ingratitude, and the despair inside your own heart. That internal win is the foundation for any success you'll have on the outside.
So look at how far we've come. We've journeyed through the foundation, the path, and the destination. We've seen how these few verses provide a complete curriculum for life. So the question now is, what do we do with all this? This is where your personal journey really, truly begins. Ultimately, this one practice ties everything we've talked about together. Life is a mix of hardship and ease, of burdens and capacity. Ending each day by reciting these verses and making this huge, comprehensive prayer is the perfect way to reset your spiritual balance. It helps you acknowledge the day's challenges, seek forgiveness for your shortcomings, and reaffirm your trust in your guardian for whatever comes next. I want to leave you with this one last, crucial question. Please, don't let this just be interesting information. Turn it into transformation. What is one small, tangible action you will take today? Will you decide to recite the verses tonight? Will you consciously hand your worries over to your Mawla? Will you stop blaming something and just take responsibility for one small thing? Just choose one and do it. And finally, if this explainer was a valuable stop on your own journey, if it brought you some clarity or benefit, please consider liking, commenting, and sharing it. And not just for us, but for someone else out there who might be looking for this exact guidance to help them on their path. Thank you so much for joining me.